Golden Bachelor. Bachelor Nation has never been afraid of shaking things up, but this time, the shakeup might just be one of the biggest in franchise history. When ABC announced that Taylor Frankie Paul would lead the next season of The Bachelorette, fans didn't just gasp, they debated hard. Social media lit up, comment sections exploded. Some viewers called it bold and refreshing, others wondered if the franchise had stepped too far outside its own rose garden. And right in the middle of all that buzz, a familiar face with a very familiar opinion, Tyler Cameron. Tyler knows a thing or two about the Bachelor world. Ever since his unforgettable run on The Bachelorette, he's remained one of the most talked-about men in the franchise. Charming, laid-back, and never afraid to speak his mind, Tyler recently opened up about the surprising decision to cast a reality star from outside Bachelor Nation as the leading lady. And let's just say he had thoughts. While promoting his new HGTV renovation competition set inside the iconic Bachelor Mansion, a project that brings together reality TV alumni to redesign the famous estate, Tyler sat down for an interview alongside former Bachelorette Tayshia Adams. The conversation eventually turned to the upcoming season. The big question: what happens when the Bachelorette isn't someone who first searched for love within the franchise? For years, the formula was simple. Contestant falls in love on The Bachelor. If her heart breaks, she gets another chance as the Bachelorette. It's the ultimate romantic redemption arc. Viewers invest in the heartbreak. They root for the glow-up. They feel like they know her. But this season, ABC went in a completely new direction by casting Taylor Frankie Paul, a reality personality with her own established following and storyline outside of Bachelor Nation. Some fans love it. They say it's fresh, unexpected, modern. Others, they're divided. Tyler didn't attack the choice. He didn't criticize Taylor personally. Instead, he approached it with his signature playful honesty. He admitted that casting outside the traditional pool changes the dynamic. The audience might not have that emotional attachment that usually builds over time. But here's the twist. Tyler also seemed intrigued. Because let's be real, when you bring someone new into a world as dramatic, rose-filled, and champagne-soaked as The Bachelorette, sparks are bound to fly. And sparks make great television. Tyler even joked about who he would cast if he had the power. One name he floated: model and reality star Brooks Nodder. He teased that a season led by Brooks would be diabolical, and he meant that in the most entertaining way possible. Glamour, drama, big personalities, bigger love stories. Of course, Tyler delivered the punchline with a grin, suggesting it might be hard to find enough wealthy suitors to keep up. It was playful, it was cheeky, it was very Tyler, and that's why fans still adore him. But beneath the humor was a real question about the future of the franchise. Is it time for The Bachelorette to evolve, or does the magic lie in sticking to tradition? There's something undeniably romantic about the original format, watching someone fall in love, get heartbroken, and then bravely step back into the spotlight for another chance for forever. It feels like a fairy tale sequel. Yet there's also something exciting about unpredictability. Taylor Frankie Paul brings her own story, her own fan base, and her own life experience into the mansion. That could create a completely different energy. The men won't just be competing for roses, they'll be stepping into a world shaped by someone who's already lived publicly, loved publicly, and learned publicly. That kind of vulnerability can either intimidate people or inspire them. Tyler also shared thoughts about who he'd love to see as the next Bachelor. While fans once begged him to take the role himself, he's happily settled into his own relationship and seems content watching the chaos from the sidelines. Instead, he suggested other familiar faces from the reality TV universe, proving once again that crossovers are becoming more common. The walls between franchises aren't as solid as they used to be. And maybe that's the bigger story here. Reality TV is evolving. Audiences are evolving. The way we watch love unfold on screen is evolving. But at the heart of it all, one thing hasn't changed. We still want the fairy tale. We still want that final rose moment where two people lock eyes and believe, even just for a second, that forever is possible. Tyler understands that better than most. He's lived it. He's stood at the edge of that proposal platform. He's felt both the rush of hope and the sting of heartbreak. So when he speaks, fans listen, not because he's throwing shade, not because he's stirring drama, but because he represents the romantic core of the franchise, the idea that love, even messy televised love, is worth chasing. As for Taylor Frankie Paul, she now carries the weight of expectations on her shoulders. Half the audience is cheering, half is skeptical. But sometimes the most powerful love stories are the ones that begin with doubt. Maybe she'll surprise everyone. Maybe the men will step up in ways we don't expect. Maybe this unconventional casting choice will create one of the most emotional seasons yet. Or maybe it will spark conversations about what Bachelor Nation should look like moving forward. Either way, people will be watching. Because when roses are handed out and limousines pull up under twinkling lights, it's hard to look away. And that's the magic of it all. Love is unpredictable. Television is unpredictable. And when you mix the two together, you get moments that make us laugh, cringe, swoon, and occasionally yell at our screens. Tyler Cameron speaking out didn't divide fans. The casting did. His comments simply added fuel to a conversation that was already blazing. At the end of the day, whether you're Team Tradition or Team Shake It Up, there's something thrilling about not knowing what will happen next. Will Taylor find her forever? Will skeptics change their minds? Will this season redefine the franchise? Only one way to find out, so grab your popcorn, prepare for dramatic entrances, unexpected chemistry, heartfelt confessions, and maybe even a few tears along the way. Because love, especially reality TV love, is always a wild ride. And this season, it might just be the most surprising one yet. If you're excited to see how this story unfolds, share your thoughts below. Are you rooting for Taylor, or do you prefer the classic Bachelor Nation formula? Let's talk about it, because in the end, whether it's tradition or transformation, we all tune in for the same reason: to believe in love, even if it comes with a side of drama and a handful of roses.
And as the conversation around this season keeps growing louder, one thing becomes clear: this isn't just about casting, it's about identity. For years, The Bachelorette has followed a familiar rhythm. A hopeful romantic steps out of heartbreak and into a second chance. The audience already knows her laugh, her tears, her backstory. We feel protective, invested, loyal. But with Taylor Frankie Paul stepping into that spotlight, the rhythm shifts. This isn't a sequel to a love story we watched unfold inside the mansion. This is a brand new chapter. And that fresh energy might be exactly what keeps viewers glued to their screens. Some fans are wondering, will the men approach this season differently? Think about it. When the lead comes from within Bachelor Nation, contestants often reference past episodes, past heartbreak, past moments that bonded viewers to her. This time, the dynamic changes. The men walking out of those limos won't be competing with a former bachelor. They'll be stepping into Taylor's world, a world shaped by her own experiences, her own public journey, and her own lessons about love. And that shift could create something unexpectedly romantic. Because when two people meet without the weight of a shared franchise history, the connection feels immediate, raw, present. It's not about rewriting a broken ending. It's about creating something entirely new. Meanwhile, Tyler Cameron continues to represent the old-school charm fans fell in love with. His perspective feels balanced, playful but thoughtful. He understands tradition, but he also knows entertainment thrives on surprise. There's also something fascinating about how the Bachelor universe is blending with other reality TV worlds. Tyler jokingly tossing out names like Brooks Nader shows how interconnected these shows have become. One appearance on a dance floor, one competition series win, and suddenly a personality becomes a viable romantic lead in another franchise. It's like a reality TV multiverse. And let's be honest, viewers love crossovers. They love watching familiar faces navigate unfamiliar territory. It adds intrigue, it sparks conversation, it fuels headlines. But beneath all the chatter, the heart of the show remains the same. A woman stands at the center of a candlelit courtyard, searching for someone who sees her, not just the public persona, not just the headlines, but the real person underneath. And maybe that's what makes this season so compelling. Taylor Frankie Paul isn't stepping into this role as a blank slate. She has lived, learned, and grown in front of an audience. That kind of vulnerability can be intimidating, but it can also be powerful. It means she understands what it feels like to be judged, to be discussed, to be analyzed. So perhaps she'll approach love differently. Perhaps she'll ask harder questions. Perhaps she'll demand deeper answers. And that could lead to some of the most meaningful conversations we've seen on this franchise in years. Imagine the first night, the candlelit courtyard glowing under soft lights, the tension building as limos line the driveway, the doors open one by one, nervous smiles, confident struts, silly gimmicks, heartfelt speeches, and at the center of it all, Taylor, poised, hopeful, maybe even a little nervous. Because no matter how experienced someone is with cameras, opening your heart is always terrifying. That's the part people forget. Behind the glamour, behind the dresses, behind the roses, there's risk, real risk. Risk of rejection, risk of heartbreak, risk of believing in something that might not last. Tyler knows that feeling all too well. His season reminded audiences how quickly fairy tales can twist. And maybe that's why his comments resonate. He's not speaking as a critic, he's speaking as someone who once stood in that exact spotlight. And fans, they're split because they care. They care about tradition, they care about authenticity, they care whether the show still feels like the romantic escape they've loved for years. But sometimes evolution is necessary to keep a love story alive. If every season followed the exact same blueprint, would it still feel magical, or would it start to feel predictable? That's the tightrope the franchise is walking right now, honoring its roots while stepping into a new era. And honestly, that tension makes everything more exciting, because when viewers don't know what to expect, every episode feels like an event. Every cocktail party feels charged. Every one-on-one date feels meaningful. Every rose ceremony feels unpredictable. Maybe this season will surprise skeptics and become one of the most talked about love stories in recent memory. Maybe it will spark even bigger conversations about what audiences want from reality romance. Or maybe it will simply remind us that love doesn't come in one format. It doesn't require a specific casting path. It doesn't demand a traditional narrative. Sometimes love shows up in unexpected places, at unexpected times, in unexpected ways. And that's the beauty of it. Whether you're cheering for this bold casting choice or wishing for the classic formula, there's no denying one thing: you'll be watching. You'll be waiting to see who steps out of the limo. You'll be analyzing first impressions. You'll be predicting the final four. You'll be debating online after every episode, because that's what Bachelor Nation does best. So as the premiere approaches, the anticipation keeps building. The roses are ready, the mansion doors are opening, and a new chapter is about to begin. Will Taylor Frankie Paul redefine what it means to be the Bachelorette? Will Tyler Cameron's playful skepticism turn into surprise admiration by the finale? Will fans who are divided now come together over one unforgettable love story? Only time will tell. But one thing is certain: when love is on the line, emotions run high, hearts open wide, and anything can happen. And that's exactly why we can't look away.